this morning. Thought I had plenty of time. 16 minutes past 8, what am I playing at? Morning. Welcome to day 20. Saturday morning, another Saturday morning. We're doing this, guys. We've done 3 Saturday mornings now. We are well and truly in habit territory. Morning, Matt. Morning, Sal. Yeah, well and truly into habit territory now. So we've had the last 2 days, we've kind of done a little more gently. So I thought today, we're still going to be gentle, don't panic. But I thought we'd introduce some of the other poses. So we've gone through Warrior 1. And today I thought, let's do a nice gentle Warrior 2. It's a really, really nice pose. And it is one that comes up in lots of yoga sequences. So it will equip you really well for if you do some of our longer practices on the platform, or if you do fancy going to your local yoga studio and trying out a class there maybe. So we'll do that. And then we'll move from Warrior 2 into a pose called Triangle Pose, which is actually one of my favourites, but it is one of those Marmite poses. So yeah, we will give it a go, see how we get on. But Warrior 2 and Triangle Pose this morning. We're going to begin in our seat, whatever that looks like for you, but I'm sure you're very familiar with it now. 20 days we've been doing this. Look at us go. Closing down the eyes, if that feels comfortable for you. Finding somewhere to place the hands. And just finding that stillness so that we can bring our awareness inwards. Focusing on the breath. Just while taking stock of how you're feeling this morning. How does the body feel? Maybe have a little wiggle into it. And then as you're ready, if you're comfortable to, just lengthening those inhales and exhales. Maybe introducing a little bit of nose breathing, which may have started to feel a little bit more like second nature now. Just noticing how the body reacts to each inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, just blinking the eyes open, keeping a hold of that breath. It's going to see us through the rest of the practice. And we're going to come into tabletop position today. And if you were on yesterday's live class, we tried out something new in this position. So I'm going to leave it open. You can take whatever gentle movement you like here. So whether that be just your kind of more traditional cat-cow, whether you'd like to just explore some movement over the wrists, maybe taking some circles forwards or backwards, or maybe if you're feeling, I don't know, a bit spicier this morning, maybe we can try what we did yesterday. So a bit more of an exaggerated cat-cow into child's pose and then tabletop position. So it's the same kind of movement. So if we start with an inhale, as you exhale, as we usually do, press into the hands, really curve through the spine, send your hips back towards your heels. Maybe the hands go out a little bit longer in front of you. And then as you inhale, bringing those hands back in. As you inhale, drop the belly, as you kind of snake yourself forwards back into that tabletop position. Then you're going to exhale again, sending it back into child's pose. Maybe the hands come out a bit longer in front of you. And then as you inhale, bringing them back in towards the body, sending that belly down, coming forwards into tabletop position. So it does feel a little strange, but just have a little bit of a practice with it in line with your own breath. As I said yesterday, it's one to just kind of put the ego to one side and just feel it out. No one can see you. I cannot see you. I can't see how this is going down. But feel into how it feels for your body. It's a really nice way in yoga of marrying that breath to movement when we try and find these kind of spinal waves here. You can do it far more exaggerated in a plank as well. We probably won't get to that on these lives, but as I always say, we've got longer practices on the platform if you fancy exploring some of that. Next, let's move into, we're going to meet at the top of the mat. So if you feel comfortable to do so, we're going to take a downward facing dog to get us there. If that's not for you, we'll meet you there in whichever way works for you. Downward facing dogs, just tuck the toes, send the hips high, gazing in between the toes, pressing through the hands, sending the heels to the back of the mat. Maybe a slight bend in the knees now, just for while we're waking the body up, and then we're just going to take those nice slow steps to the front of the mat. Let everything hang heavy for a second here. And on your next inhale, send everything up and over, arms come high. Maybe follow with your gaze, and as you exhale, bringing the hands through heart center before they come down by your sides for Tadasana, mountain pose. And then to find warrior two today, we're simply going to step the left foot back in space. That right foot, we want the toes to be pointing straight ahead of us. The left foot at the back, we're just going to pivot the toes so that they face towards the left. So you've kind of got a bit of a T shape going on here. We're going in this sort of direction. You can line up the heel of the front foot to the arch of your back foot if that feels okay. That's what a lot of traditional teachers will tell you. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever feels best for your body. Find a stance that works for you. So you might want to just shuffle that front foot forward a little bit more. And then we're simply going to bend into our right knee and bring our hands and our arms out wide. So you've got a lot going on here. So really think about pressing into your right foot at the front. Try not to let that right knee collapse over towards the left. Try and maintain some integrity. Think about the inner thigh here as you press into the knee, keeping it nice and stable. Pressing into the outer edge of the left foot here. That's going to give you stability in whichever stance you found here. And then really reaching forward with that right hand. Really reaching backwards in opposition with the left. Trying to find a nice kind of level at about shoulder length, shoulder level here. And we want to gaze over our middle finger of the right hand straight ahead. It's called warrior, so think about what that kind of would mean here. That's what we're trying to embody in this pose. And then when you're ready to find triangle pose, all we're going to do, straighten the right leg at the front, send your right hand down towards the ground as the left hand comes up, so kind of bumping your hips back towards the end of your mat, back out behind you. And we're in triangle pose. So they quite often say, traditional teachers, you used to get taught to tell people to imagine themselves in between two sheets of glass here, and you're trying to be really nice and flat. Again, that doesn't really work. We've all got different skeletons. So just finding something that feels okay for you, pressing into both of those feet, thinking really nice and strong through the ground here. Your hand can be, placement can be up here. You can kind of rest on this front leg if that feels okay. Maybe grab a book or a block to balance on, or you can come down to the ground if you like. I often think for a little extra challenge actually, just hovering off the ground slightly. And then we're going to come all the way back up the same way as we came in, and we're just going to step that left foot towards the front of the mat. We're just going to take a vinyasa. As you may have heard, it's part of a lot of classes that you'll find in studios, you'll hear it a lot. All that means is a series of flowing poses that go one after another. So for us to take a vinyasa today, we're going to take the arms up overhead. Follow with your gaze, looking up at the thumbs. As you exhale, send everything down to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice flat back. Remember to tuck the elbows in as our shoulder blades come to touch. Exhale, send the hands down to the mat. And let's just find tabletop here. So step that right leg back, followed by the left, onto the knees. And we're going to meet at the top of the mat as we always do. So finding your way there, or if you feel comfortable to do so, let's find downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, press into the hands, push the heels down towards the mat as you send the hips up high. Gazing in between the toes or towards the belly button. And then bending through the knees, we're just going to take baby steps towards the top of the mat. Exhale anything you've got here. And then inhale all the way up to the top. Exhale through center. Arms come by your side. Mountain pose. I appreciate I'm very much going over time again today. But hopefully you have a little bit more time to spare. I won't be offended if you drop off early. But let's take it to the other side. No need for you to move. I'm just going to move over here so that you can still see me when I demonstrate on the other side. Step in the right foot, back in space this time. Remember, play with your stance a little bit. Obviously, the wider the stance, the more balance you'll need, the more you'll feel it in that front knee. Sending the right toes out towards the side of the room, the left toes straight on in front of you. And then we're going to bend through the left knee, press through the outside edge of your right foot, and then we're going to bring the hands up. So bring the arms up to kind of shoulder height, sending your fingertips out. So really reaching here, we're really reaching behind us with the right hand, really reaching forwards with the left, gazing over that middle finger. Thinking nice and long through the spine. You've got that puppet string pulling you up through the crown of your head. And we're warriors here, remember. Think about how you'd embody that in this pose. And then when you're ready, let's find triangle pose. So straighten through the left leg at the front. And then we're just going to send the left hand down towards the mat. Right hand comes up at the same time. Bumping those hips towards the back of the mat or the room. And finding whatever hand placement feels best for you, whether that's down on the ground, hovering slightly, maybe using your leg as a little bit more balance, a bit more stability. And you can, if you like to, gaze up towards that top hand here. When you've had enough, let's come out the same way as we came in, so just windmilling the arms, and then you can bring them to your hips as you step that right foot back towards the top of the mat. Let's just inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, follow with your gaze, maybe taking a slight back bend here. And then bringing the palms together, bringing them through heart center. Maybe closing down the eyes if that feels okay to do so. Or finding that point out in front of you. It's not going to move. That drishti point you can focus on. Just letting your breath return to its natural rhythm. Maybe bringing the hands by the sides. And just acknowledging showing up on a Saturday morning. Day 20, like I say, well and truly into a habit now. So just acknowledging, thanking yourself for showing up in your own little way. And I will leave you there. Very conscious of time, guys. So I didn't want to keep you too long, but if you have the time this Saturday morning, I'm definitely going to do it now. You could take some nice kind of supine twists, one side then the other, and maybe just find a really nice shavasana, pop some nice chill music on and just melt into the ground. Take as much time as you have. If you'd like more, obviously on the platform we've got loads of longer practices, and tomorrow I will be back and also doing a longer practice at 10 o'clock for our members. If you'd like to join that, just message me for the details. But other than that, thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.